Welcome to the Creator's Adventure, where we interview creators from around the world, hearing their stories about growing a business. My name is Brian McAnulty. I'm the founder of Heights Platform, and today I'm talking with Graham Cochrane about how he built a seven-figure online music business, going from only $10,000 a year working full-time to $1.6 million a year working only 6 hours a week. Hey everyone, we're here today with Graham Cochrane. He is the author of How to Get Paid for What You Know and a business coach with over 3,000 customers worldwide. He founded The Recording Revolution, a seven-figure online music business in 2009, and he now hosts over 80,000 monthly followers on his podcast, YouTube, and blog, talking about business, mindset, productivity, and psychology. Graham has been featured in Business Insider, CNBC, Yahoo, and the Huffington Post. Graham, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian. Glad to be here.
So my first question for you is that you have a pretty interesting story about how you started your online business and grew it from the ground up. So can you share a little bit of that with us today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a musician as a background. I'm not really an entrepreneur background. So all I wanted to do in life was make records and tour and be in bands. And so I did all of that for high school, middle school, high school, college. And I was on the trajectory trying to get signed and be a rock star. That was the dream for me. We pushed pretty hard through into my senior year of college and didn't really get any real favorable record deals, like from some developmental deals that I had a fiance and we were getting married, and I needed to make money, and the tunnel was looking like down the pipe that this was going to be like just keep doing stuff for free for a while, and they're dangling, we might pay you down the road. So I said, forget it, I can't do this. So I gave up the dream and started just taking random jobs, and I floated for a few years until the Great Recession happened, and I lost two jobs in the year 2009. Two jobs. I had my first baby. We bought our first house. We had just moved to Florida, and that's when I lost my second job right after that. So here we were in a new town. I'm 26. We're out of income. I had a little bit of savings. We burned through that in a couple of months. We had to apply for food stamps. They call it SNAPs now, but or on government assistance for 18 months. It was a pretty embarrassing, low period of my life. And it was in this season where I said, well, how could I make money? And I didn't want to go back to work somewhere at a random job. I kind of hated sitting at a desk. I'd done retail, corporate America, I'd done it all. And one skill I had from my music background was audio engineering. I'd gone to school to learn how to produce music and make records and work in a studio. And I didn't ever like working in the studio, but I like doing freelance recording, and I always used to do that on the side, nights and weekends, for extra money. So I thought, well, I have that as a marketable skill. Let me see if I can ramp that up. And so what I decided to do while I was reaching out to past clients and trying to get to know people locally was I was putting some content on the internet. I started blogging about my studio. I started blogging about my clients. I did some YouTube videos. This was late 2009, early 2010, making some videos. Like desperately, like, well, YouTube's a search engine, Google's a search engine. If I create some content, maybe it'll get discovered. People will see what I'm doing. They'll like what I'm doing, and they'll want to hire me. And that was the goal. And what ended up happening was I realized I was discovering I'm being a content creator. And over time, I learned that this was a business that was just as valuable as the service. Actually, people would want to pay to learn what I was teaching them. And that changed the course of my life. I mean, I did freelance work for years, but really what scaled faster and what got me more interested was digital products.
Cool. Yeah, so that's going to be my next question, actually. So you came to this realization that you could do these things to create a business. And when you realized this about the content creation, like what was the realization that you came to find out, like, oh, well, this is actually a big part of it too?
Yeah, well, when I started making content, especially on YouTube, it was very clear early on that there were people that really wanted to learn this stuff. I mean, even when there was 50 people watching a video, I always imagine if I had 50 people in my living room right now listening to what I'm saying, like that's a great visual of, dude, there's people that want to know this. And their comments were very like eye-opening of, no one's explaining this the way you're explaining it. This is the first time this has made sense to me. Could you do a video on X, Y, and Z? And so that was the beginning of me understanding how important the audience is. It's more important than anything else we do online is audience building. And so I knew there was something there. I thought the only way to monetize that, because I needed to make money, I couldn't just do it for free forever. I thought the only way to monetize that would be like ads, banner ads on my website or sponsors for a podcast or something like that. And I made some money doing that, but I stumbled into digital products when I was filming. I wanted to film a bunch of videos to teach this one piece of software called Pro Tools that we use in the music world to record music. And I knew it would be 3 to 4 hours of content to really explain this software the way I explained it to my friends in real life when they're confused about it. And at the time, YouTube limited my video uploads to 15 minutes a pop. And I was like, this is going to be a bajillion YouTube videos. And I could upload a lot of videos on YouTube for this, or I could film it and like sell it. Maybe I could zip it up in a zip file, make a PayPal button, and somehow sell it. Like I didn't know this was a thing, so I thought I was making this up. And so I tried it, and I sold this collection of videos. I called it Pro Tools Bootcamp at the time, and I sold it for $45. And some random guy on my email list bought it and paid me, and he got some digital videos. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the future for me. Why don't I do more of this? And my question was, how far can this go? I didn't think it'd make much money, but I thought, if I make $2,000 a month doing some freelance work, and if I could make $2,000 a month selling these videos, I could make $4,000 a month. That'd be amazing. That'd be more money than I made 40 hours a week at my desk job in corporate America. So that was the beginning of the rest of my career, was that realization that digital products might not be only a way to go, but once I saw that they started to scale faster than my service-based business, I was putting more fuel on the fire on those, because I thought, man, this is the way to grow. And I was going to treat them equally, but they're not equal. One can scale and one can't.
Cool. Yeah, I always love to hear that story of how somebody gets their first sale, because often something like that is really eye-opening to a creator, of letting you know like there is this potential for something. I'm curious, how you mentioned like even if there's 50 people watching your video, that's still a lot of people if you imagine them in a room with you. So I'm curious, did you like equate that to like playing like shows with a band and like imagining how many people would be there or anything like that? Like, was that part of how you were thinking about it?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm a performer by nature, so I love being in front of people and I love getting the reaction. Like, is this connecting with people? And so in a lot of ways, it's very similar. When I put out a video now, and if people watch it or they listen to a podcast or they come to a webinar or whatever, you feel like, man, I was on, and there was a moment where they got something from it and it was worth their time and they were like reacting to it. And it's satisfying. So for me, it was, I don't know if I saw it the same as music, because it wasn't as fun at the time. It was like, I was scared out of my mind and I'm trying to like make something work and put food on the table, but it was just as satisfying and gratifying. And it is now too. Like I'm addicted to content creation because it's just so fun to get a reaction from somebody when they're like, man, this actually helped me, or I went and did what you said. Even them doing what you said is an incredible reaction. It's an incredible honor that someone would watch a video, go take your advice and implement it. And then when they get results, that's even better, because then they're excited, you're excited. And then that's what gets me out of bed.
Cool. I actually have another question about that now that you bring that up, that like getting the reaction from somebody and how that's so nice to hear and to see as a creator. Like what happens, what would you say to a new creator? They're starting out, they start producing some YouTube videos, some kind of content, and they're not getting a reaction yet. What would you say to someone like that to help them stay motivated? Because I know like part of it is maybe luck and timing and things like that, where like if you do get that first reaction early on, even that one reaction can really inspire you to keep going. So what do you say to somebody who doesn't have that yet?
Yeah, I mean, there's like 3 or 4 things that it takes for content to pop. But let's just talk about YouTube as an example, but it would be true for any of it. So there's like 3 or 4 dials. Dial number 1 is like, you just have to experiment. Like there's no way you're going to know what content's going to resonate with people in your head. Like you have an idea, but until you put it out there in the world and people have a chance to interact with it and engage with it, you don't know for sure. None of us do. So you're co-creating with your audience. So you can't have this perfect mastermind plan of this is going to be my content map and it's always going to work. We just don't know. And even today, I never quite truly know. And sometimes there's a video that blows up that I thought was the worst video ever done. And then sometimes there's a video that I'm like, this is the one that's going to pop, and nobody really cares. So even today, I still don't always know. So you have to realize it's an experimentation game. You got to try different things and see what people resonate with. 2, you get better at this thing. Like, you have to develop the skill of being a content creator. That's both being on camera, if you're on camera, or on the podcast, or the skill of writing, or it's the skill of ideating and coming up with good ideas. It's the skill of timing. It's your presence. I mean, my early videos were boring to watch because I looked like I was scared out of my mind because I was thinking about what I wanted to say and I couldn't do it very quickly. And so, you get better at all of the aspects of creating content and being on. So that's something you're not going to be good at naturally for most of us. So that's going to take time to improve. Number 3, you have to learn the platform. Like, you're going to have to learn what YouTube wants if we're talking about YouTube, and you're going to have to learn your analytics and learn how the algorithm favors certain things. And there are certain methods to the madness, and it takes time to learn it. You can learn it from a course or a book, but really you have to see it in real time with your own channel and see, okay, that my click-through rate went down per the impressions, but then my retention was higher when I did that. Like, that's not just experimenting with what content people like, that's experimenting with the way you're showing up on the platform and what the platform likes. And that takes time to figure out. Again, you can't shortcut that. And then the most important one, number 4, is like consistency. Like, these things literally take time. Very few people can come on a platform and go viral quickly. That happens. That's not really what happens for most people. So that's not a good strategy. So if you've been at this game for 6 months to a year and you're not popping yet, guess what? Most people don't in 6 months to a year. So you're right, probably where everybody else is. You really need a solid 2, maybe 3 years to get a real sense of how things are going, because the first 3, you're learning what content people want, you're learning how to show up and create content in a powerful way, and you're learning the algorithm or the platform that you're on, and then you have to consistently show up every single week, at least weekly, for time to then get some momentum. I mean, if you look at my YouTube channel, both of them, but even my first one, it was like a slow growth, and I thought it's going to extrapolate that out at this pace 10 more years before I reach like 10,000 subscribers. But there's a point, and for me it was right around year 2, where momentum happens. And it's the same thing for my second business. And that just takes the discipline to not quit and to constantly be learning in the process. So that's what I would say, is you're probably jumping the gun and making a decision about how well you're doing way too early.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good point. The majority of people who are content creators who become successful, it's probably because of practice and consistency over a longer period of time. Not that they got lucky. Some might have had a early viral video, something like that, but the majority, it's that consistency and time.
And if you go viral, that's great, but it's hard to recreate.
Exactly.
I have friends that have gone viral.
It's almost better if you don't, in a way.
Exactly, because you want to build the skill set of actually creating value that will, like, none of my videos are that amazing. I have a few that have really popped, but I look at it as a whole. What do all of my videos cumulatively do for my business? Not like, is this one video going to blow up? Because my goal is not to blow up on YouTube. My goal is to grow a business, and YouTube is a tool in my system. And so they can all be average views, but can they achieve your goals? And I'd rather learn the skill to do that than try to like go viral and catch lightning in a bottle.
Awesome. So you mentioned that when you started your business, you were in a really difficult financial situation, that you and your wife just bought a house, you just had a baby. How did you manage to stay positive and keep working on your business in those initial months?
Yeah, I would say the 3 things that helped me there were, 1, I had a supportive wife. She just was so supportive of what I was doing. She wanted me to have a fair shot at this, and she believed in it. And she wasn't too scared. I mean, she was like, let's just give this a shot. And that was huge for me because I was scared. 2, I really saw potential early on, even though I didn't know how to monetize it, and I didn't know this business model, and there was no one helping me, and I didn't even know that other people had already done what I was doing, or was about to do. I saw potential in my content. Like I was saying, I would see those early 50, 100 people like really like the videos, and I was like, man, there's something here. Like they would be sad if I stopped showing up, even these few hundred people. And that's a good place to be, when if you were to shut off your channel or your blog or your podcast or whatever and walk away, people would be sad that you're gone. that's a good sign that you're connecting and you're adding value in the world. And it's just a matter of finding the best way to then monetize that for you to make a living. And that's not as hard to do as the hard thing is creating value in a way where people really love what you're doing. That's actually harder to create than selling something. So I saw that. And so at least in the back of my mind, I thought there's got to be something here. And then 3, I'm a man of faith. I'm a Christian. And so I prayed a lot. I just felt a lot of like clarity from the Lord that this is something I'm supposed to do. Like, don't quit this thing. I didn't understand why, but I felt like there's going to be something here. And so I think my faith really carried me through because it was a scary time. I don't know how much longer I could have lasted if it didn't pick up. It took me about 2 years to really make something pop. I think I made $10,000 in my first year, like of working full time at this thing. I made $10,000. And in my second year, though, I was able to make $60,000, and that starts to show, the momentum. And then we flipped to 6 figures the next year easily. So it was slow and painful at the top. But if it took me 5 years and I wasn't making any money, I don't know if I would have kept up with it.
Yeah. So now your wealth is based on generating this passive income online and leveraging your knowledge. So a lot of people nowadays, they're skeptical when they hear this term passive income. So what would you say? Is passive income really possible? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with this. Passive income gets a bad rap. It's 100% possible. So passive means you're not actively doing the work to get paid, right? So active income would be I show up at work, I put in 10 hours, I get paid for those 10 hours. Or if I have clients, like I used to do freelance recording, if I mix your record or master your record or record these 10 songs for you, I get paid for whatever amount we agreed on to do that work. Active income. Passive income is income that's earned without activity. So generally speaking, that could be anything from a book royalty or a music royalty, right? I record a song, I write a song. I did the work once. There was work involved. There's always work involved initially. But now I go on with my life and I'm getting a royalty check every quarter or whatever from that song or that book or that movie. Or a piece of real estate. You do the work to find a deal, you save up the money, you get the financing, whatever it is, and you buy a townhouse, and then you find a tenant and rent it out. Like that's initial work. But now you go on your married life and you've got a lease agreement and they're paying you rent every single month and you're not actively working for that money. So that's passive income. The same is true in my business in that I've created content on the internet, free content, like this YouTube content, let's say. These are like little employees working for me 24/7 for free, driving leads to my business. I've built out these products, these online courses and memberships that already exist that my system automatically can offer to people and they can buy and automatically deliver it. And then I have recurring revenue products like a membership or my mastermind or even some affiliate income that pays me every month. They've already joined once and now they pay every month to stay in it. That's all passive income. Because I'm not actively doing the work to get the money that day. And the great thing is what you're doing is separating the income from the hours. And so really, maybe if the passive word is throwing people off, scalable would be a better word, or automated would be a better word. Automated income, scalable income.
Yep. Yeah, I like to say like leveraged income.
It's leveraged, exactly. You do a fixed amount of work, or if you're a crazy person like me, do even less work every single year. I try to see how few hours can I put in and actually grow the business as like a mad scientist experiment. And that's what I'm talking about is like my hours have gone down from 32 hours a week when I started, because I would work 4 days a week, 32 hours a week when I started, to now 6 hours a week. Back then I made $10,000 my first year working 32 hours. And this year I'll probably make 1.6 or 2 million working 6 hours a week. So that's what I'm talking about is the income is separated from the hours. And that's the type of business that I'm really interested in. It doesn't have to be online courses. Like I said, it could be real estate or writing a hit song or writing books that people buy on Kindle. Like even if you're not famous, you can create passive income with ebooks and things like that. But that's the way I'd rather spend the time up front creating something that can scale without me or scale with minimal effort than always trying to find clients or trade my time for dollars. And it's a great place to start maybe, but then find a way to create some sort of scalable income in addition to that at least.
That's great. So you mentioned that now you're bringing in probably, I guess you said like about 160,000 a month and spending 6 hours a week to run that. Can you briefly explain, like, do you have any kind of specific automations or like processes that you've put into place over the years that have helped you achieve this?
Yeah, most of it is elimination. Tim Ferriss has that great book, The 4-Hour Work Week.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a few sections in that book. The first section, well, the second section is really called elimination. And that's worth that book's price of admission alone, because in that section, he talks about sort of how to think about all the stuff you're doing. And he has a process where he says, eliminate things that you don't need first, automate what you can't eliminate, and then delegate what you can't eliminate or automate. And so most of what I'm doing is actually eliminating. I just stopped doing things like interacting on social media regularly. I stopped writing blog posts when I realized I could have the same amount of traffic if I just did the videos that I was doing. I stopped checking email every day. I just started eliminating stuff to see, again, if it would affect my business. And when it didn't affect my business, I'm like, well, great, I never have to do that again. So I just freed up time. And then the things that I can't eliminate, I try to automate with computer software systems. So I have an email funnel that when new people, they download a cheat sheet or a checklist of mine for free, or watch a workshop for free, and they're on my email list. I have a pre-written email funnel that adds value and gives them more stuff and establishes my authority, and then it offers them a product, and then it can sell it automatically. So I have an automated sales team and automated follow-up system there through software. And then the things that I can't automate, I delegate. And so I have a few people on my team. I started out for the first 4 years with no one on my team. And look, we were doing $200,000 to $300,000 a year with just me, and it's possible. If you want to be a 6-figure solopreneur, you don't need to outsource anything. But if you want to scale and work less, there's going to be some things that a human has to do. So customer service in my inbox is important. So I have someone that does that. I've now offloaded stuff that I just don't want to do anymore, like creating thumbnails and uploading my stuff to YouTube and connecting, just linking stuff, all the like recurring things that you have to do that don't require my brain. Anybody could do it if they're trained to do it. Those are the things that I've outsourced, so I don't have to think about it anymore. I've worked with marketing executives and people that can help me think through different sort of strategies there, so I can just focus on the stuff I want to do, like content. So that's a great way to leverage as well, is hiring team. But I would never start delegating or hiring until I've eliminated most of the stuff I don't need to do and then automated what's left that I can.
Yeah, that's great. I think, the elimination idea is really great. I remember reading that in the 4-Hour Work Week as well, because it's, I think sometimes you get caught, like not you, but anyone gets caught in this thinking like, okay, this is a part of my business. This is something I do. This is just what has to be done. But then you find out if you actually remove that, maybe nothing bad happens. Maybe there's no effect on that at all. You thought that this is something that really has to happen every single day, every single week. But maybe it doesn't. And maybe there's actually not really a benefit to it happening at all.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people that if you feel like you're scrambling and you're just like, I just got to keep hustling. That's what everybody says, like hustle, do more, like do all the things. That's not a badge of honor of like, I'm working really hard. I think that's a badge of laziness. You're so lazy that you haven't even stopped to think about all the tasks you're doing and questioned whether they're actually essential to income generation or not. And if you can't put a direct line between something you're doing in a given day or week to income in your bank account, you really should question whether it should exist in your weekly rhythms. I mean, some things, there isn't a direct line, and they're in the camp of like, but they are important, and there's a few of those things, but most of them should have a direct line. And so I've really, to Tim Ferriss's point, I've taken the 80-20 rule like very religiously. Like I will look at everything I'm doing, and anybody can do this. Write down everything you do in a week or a month or a day, and then go through the lens of like, if the 80-20 rule is true, 80% of what I'm doing on this list only attributes 20% of my income. I mean, it might contribute some. So it's not that it's not pointless or that it's pointless, but it's only contributing a little bit. Could I eliminate 80% of what I'm doing and my income only goes down by 20%? But now I have 4/5 of my time back? Then what could you do? You could double down on the 20% that's generating 80% of your income, and now you can more than double your income working less than half the time. That's the trade-off there. And I think what's hard is that people assume that what they're doing is important. Otherwise, why would they do it? And it takes a lot of humility to say, maybe what I'm doing isn't important, And but if you really want the freedom on the other side of that, if this is the work that's worth doing. That's why I say it's lazy to not do this. It's indiscriminate thinking. It's just going along with it and just banging your head on the keyboard. But if you can stop for a day and just assess what's going on in my business, go through this 80-20 filter, you would be one of those smart ones who can like cut out over half of what you're doing and your income doesn't drop. Or in fact, you could actually grow your income because now you're more focused on the things that really do drive revenue.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'd like to encourage anyone watching or listening to this to think about one thing that you could remove as a process in your business, because the way I like to think about that for myself is that if you picture like how are you going to grow your business from now, or how are you going to have the time that you want in your life for your family, your hobbies, whatever, or even just what you do as a creator and what you enjoy, then if you think about what you're doing day to day, there's going to be things that you're going to realize, well, I can't do all of that in the rate that I'm doing if I want to grow or if I want to have time for myself. And so that's a way to kind of look at it, to maybe force yourself to figure out, what can I delegate, what can I eliminate, and so on.
Yeah, it's a great exercise for sure.
So I want to talk about your book now. You have a book, How to Get Paid for What You Know. I think we kind of covered it a little bit, but can you tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to write this, and also how it can help people?
Yeah, I've always wanted to write a book just because books have changed my life, right? I just am a consummate reader. I always read. And I've felt like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could create my own book that changed other people's lives the way books like on the shelf behind me have changed my life? And as much as I create content every single week, and I've created like thousands of hours of content written in video and audio, there's something magical about a book in your hand. You know, you take it on vacation, you're on the beach, or you're at the pool, or you're sitting down, and there's a romantic thing about a book that just hasn't gone out of style. And I wanted to create that. So that was partially just a passion project for me. And then two, I just see this is an area that's going to grow. Like, this is the knowledge economy, the knowledge commerce economy, whatever you want to call it. We're at the beginning. Like, we're not in the middle. We're not at the end. We're at the beginning of likely a 30 to 40 year wave. And I'm like, dude, this is the time for people to get into this. I have so many friends that either hate their job or they've built a business that now they're a slave to their business. And they're like, I need to find a better way to run my business. And so to me, this type of business is the ticket to freedom. And so I'm like, this is a great time to write a book about this. I can help some more people that maybe wouldn't watch a course or watch my YouTube channel, but they'd read a book on a bookshelf. They go to Barnes & Noble and see a book and go, that might be interesting. So the book walks through a little bit of my story, and then it talks a lot more about the business model and the opportunity that's present right now. And then I walk you through the 6 steps to take whatever it is you know, your experience, whether it's like I know a lot about baseball, or I know a lot about weight loss, or about parenting, or about whatever you're into that people come to you for and ask you questions about naturally because you're kind of the gal or the guy in your area that kind of seems to know more about that than anybody else. Whatever that thing is that you know, there's a 6-step process to turn that into passive income, like a legitimate business model. So it's pretty meaty in the middle of the book, like pretty didactic. I wanted the book to be an easy breezy motivational read. Like, it's fun to read. Like, man, this is cool. I'm excited, because I hate books that are dense for no reason. Like, just, you got to make it fun. Yeah. But then I wanted it to be substantial. I didn't want it to be a light, like, here's what's possible, but no real meat on the bones of how to actually do it. I wanted the book to be like the thing, like you could hold it and like read it and then go build a multi-6-figure business off of it and not ever need to buy a course of mine or join a mastermind with me or any of that kind of stuff. I wanted it to be that good. So it walks through those 6 steps, and then a bunch of stuff to think about how to like get started, or mindset stuff that blocks you. But it's everything from figuring out your idea to launching it to automating it, which is the best part.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree completely that it is such an incredible time, and we're still at the beginning for creators to have this opportunity to build a business around what they know and what they enjoy. And if anything, like the best time maybe was yesterday, but the second best time is right now at this moment. And it's not, the opportunity is not like it's going away or it's going to be over by next year. Like, it really, we're still at the beginning with that. So when we were doing some research on your book, we were actually looking through some of the reviews on your page on Amazon for the book. And we came across one that was particularly interesting. Basically, it says that once the person mentioned they signed up to your email list, she said she was expecting to receive like the classic sales email and countless offers, but she said she didn't get any. Instead, she got helpful, valuable emails informing her about new informative videos. And these emails actually then led her to purchase your online course and your book. So the question is then, when people are selling something online, how important is it to focus on providing that value first rather than just trying to pitch your product?
Yeah, so I'll say both are important, right? But when you're pitching, you should also be adding value at the same time. So I don't like to look at it as either or, like should I add value or pitch? Like I was just doing like a funnel teardown for a student in my mastermind, and she had her email funnel, and I was looking at it, and she has it set up so that nobody is offered any products to buy for like 15 days after they join her email list. And to me, that's missing the point of having an email list or having a funnel. Like people are more likely to buy something in the first 7 days of joining your list. Though a lot of them will buy the day they join if you offer them something, because that's when they're most interested in that topic. They clearly found you on a piece of content somewhere or listened to a podcast, and so you don't want to wait. And usually the reason people wait is like, I don't want to pitch too much. I don't want to be too aggressive. I want to build value and trust. And I love the thought behind it, but it's ill informed because it's not an either or game. So to this person who left the review, I mean, yes, I set up my email funnel in such a way that when you join my list, you're going to get over delivered. You're going to get more content. You're going to get every email is going to be valuable. Even the emails where I'm pitching a course, my goal is to make sure that every email you read was worth your time, even if you don't buy the thing. Even if you're like, oh, he's selling his course. Okay, well, I don't want that, or I don't have the money, or I'm not interested. I still want the first part of that email to teach you something, to share an insight, to pull you behind the curtain a little bit. You never want to waste people's time. And so I don't view it as either or. I just think if you look at your emails, even if you only have a simple 5-day email sequence when people join, teach them something on day 1, teach them something on day 2, and then on day 3, 4, and 5, you should be pitching your product. But you can teach something and add value in every single one of those emails so that you're really training your audience to want to open your emails because they're always good. And that helps you sell more in the future anyway.
Yeah, that's great. I think the way I like to look at that is that you want, ideally, every lead or every contact you have, you want everyone to receive the right email at the right time. And if you don't want to feel like you're pitching people all the time, well, there are some people who they're ready to buy from you right away. So you want to give them that opportunity. I guess a follow-up kind of more technical question about that is, what does your email sequence look like in terms of, is it just a standard like one email sequence, like one path, or does it adjust based on like if somebody engages or like clicks on the email earlier, like are you going to show them an offer earlier? Do you get into like the complexities like that, or do you feel it's better to just have a single sequence?
So I usually keep things pretty simple. And so I'm more on the straight, simple funnel. And there's a couple of little automations there, right? Like if someone goes in my funnel and they buy the course that I want to promote in there, then what I'm going to do is exit them from the funnel. And I'm going to kind of put them on their own path that has like a follow-up sequence in 30 days, let's say, or 15 days after going through the course that checks in with them after they've gone through it, see where they are, and then offer them a more like relevant product for them to go deeper. And that's based off of a simple automation. If they don't buy the first product, then I'm going to probably pitch the next product to them to see if maybe that's a better fit. Maybe they don't want that basic course because they already know the basics. So then they might want the more advanced membership or something after that. And then I have a couple of automations that tracks, like if they click on the sales page, but then they don't buy, I at least know they were slightly interested. They went to the sales page, they clicked on the link. But if they didn't buy, then I can follow up with them and say like, hey, would you like a payment plan kind of thing? So really simple, because maybe it was price and it may not be, and you don't really know. So I have a couple of little simple automations there, but for the most part, my funnels for 13 years have been very linear, very straightforward. I don't do really any segmentation. I just offer them what I think are the most relevant products for most people, and then move them out of the funnel after a week or 2 or 3, depending on how long it is at the time, and then put them into my regular promotional calendar that's mostly free content every week, and then whatever I'm promoting that month or quarter.
Cool. So for our creators out there building like their own courses, their own memberships, can you go into just a little bit of how many products do you actually have in this funnel that you offer? Like what are your main products? A course, a membership, a mastermind?
Yeah, right now, let's see. I actually have 2 businesses and 2 funnels. For the Graham Cochrane brand, this brand, I have 3 products. One is a course for how to build their online business. It's called Automatic Income Academy right now. And so that's like, hey, you're obviously interested in online business. Here's my flagship course on how to do it. And I'll teach you exactly how I'm doing it. And it's gotten tons of people results. So it's a great, like, everyone should go through this. After that, there is my membership, which is called my 6-figure coaching community. And that's really not for people who are beginners in the sense that they've never launched, but as long as you made a couple $100 online, if you've done the work of launching your first product, whether it's a hit or a flop, that might be a good fit for you of like, what do you do next to scale this thing? And then also a lot of people want community and they want accountability and they want coaching with me, and all of that's offered in that community. And then the only other thing I offer in the funnel is I promote an affiliate product for a tool called Kajabi, which is what I use to run my online businesses. And I show them how they can sign up for that for free for 30 days with my affiliate link. And I tell them, look, this is what I use. You're going to need a tool like this. This is my favorite tool. And hey, if you like it, I'm going to give you some free courses if you use my link. And then it supports me if you end up, signing up with my link. So it's a win-win-win. But it's like a free thing I offer them, and they can choose to become a customer or not. But that leads to a lot of affiliate income for me as well.
Cool. All right. And then I've got one more question about your book. So it talks about also how to find your passion. And find like what you're knowledgeable about, how to turn that into a business by teaching others. So a lot of people, they want to start their own business and they have trouble realizing what is that topic that they can share with the world. Maybe they think they're not good enough. Maybe they think there's somebody out there who's more qualified than them. What would you say to this kind of person to help them out?
Yeah, I mean, this is a real common problem that people face. I would say, first of all, you're not strange or weird. But second of all, stop thinking about yourself. Like you're that type of thinking is actually a very narcissistic, selfish, inward thinking. Like, oh, am I good enough or not? And that will never help you make a business. The only way to make this business work is to stop thinking about yourself and think about people you could serve. So it doesn't matter if you think you're smart enough or knowledgeable enough. And it doesn't matter if someone else is doing a better job in your eyes than you are, because neither of those people are your customer. Like, you're thinking about competitors, you're thinking about yourself, but you're missing the most important person in the room, which is a potential customer or a student. So you really just need to dive in and take action and share whatever you know. You're not going to be able to help people who are more advanced than you in that specific subject. I get it. So you're going to help people that are less advanced than you. And all you can do is bring them a little further along the journey that they're on, that you've already been on. You can only take someone where you've gone in terms of information and knowledge. So stop putting that pressure on yourself. Just look at people you could actually help. They're probably people you're already helping in real life. Like I said, friends that call you up. Like, my wife's a photographer. So if people have, like, friends of hers have camera questions, like, is this a good camera to get for, like, my dad? He wants to get they're going to ask her camera questions. She could start an online business teaching photography or teaching what equipment to use, just because that she's the person that everyone goes to already for that stuff. In the real world, it's going to be just as easy to do it online, because now you're opening it up to the entire planet. And the second thing there is, you don't have to be super famous, or you don't have to reach everybody. There's so many people on the internet, right? All you need is your small little corner of the internet who likes the way you teach it, who connects with you and your personality, and who is willing to learn from you, because they could learn from anybody, and they might learn from multiple people, but that doesn't mean they won't want to learn from you also. And so, man, there's no reason why you can't make money doing this. I think these are just all false constructs that people make, and they're just afraid. And it's normal. It's normal to be afraid. I was afraid to start my second online business. I had already made millions online teaching music recording. I was scared to start another business because I'm like, well, maybe what if I just got lucky the first time? Or what if nobody wants to listen to me because there's a million people teaching business? That's a much more crowded niche. I mean, I had all the same fears. It's normal, but you just have to do it anyway. And, as long as I can help people, and can I help somebody? That's the question to ask. Could I help somebody? Could I help one person see some results? The answer is probably yes. And if that answer is yes, then you should be online doing it, and there's going to be more people that you can serve.
That's great advice. All right. I've got one more question for you. So we like to have each of our guests ask a question to our audience on the show. So if you could ask our audience anything, what would that be?
I would say, if you're thinking about this kind of business, my question for you is, what is the one thing you could talk about every week for the next 5 to 10 years and love it? That would be the place to start looking for your business idea. That's the way this business model works, is people can tell if you don't care about the subject or if you're just phoning it in. They're drawn to passion. They're drawn to energy. Doesn't mean it'll sell necessarily, but there's usually a way to find a way to cross-section what you could talk about for 5 to 10 years with what people in the marketplace find valuable. That's the question for you. What could you do every single week, talk about without getting bored for 5 to 10 years, and start there?
I like that. Yeah, we have, I think it's common for a creator to think like, oh, well, I have to pick what's the most profitable niche or something like this. But really, usually that's probably the wrong way to think about it, because you can make money with almost any niche. You want to find what you're going to enjoy building a business around. In the music example, actually, we have a creator using our product that I think is such an excellent example, because they're teaching music courses, but it's not like music production or guitar or something like a little bit more mainstream like that. They're teaching music theory for the hammered dulcimer. And I'm a musician myself. I wasn't even familiar with what that instrument even looked like. At first, they didn't really want to talk with us about it when we asked them to do a case study, because they said, listen, like I'm just like a creator. I just enjoy teaching about this. I don't really see myself as like this online marketer, like entrepreneur type. And I said, like, well, that's great, because that's such an excellent example. And like, we wanted to be able to show that to other people out there, that even if you're teaching something that's this super niche topic, there is an audience out there who wants to learn about that.
That's a great example. Yeah, and I have a student in my mastermind in one of my other communities. She teaches English pronunciation to Japanese speakers. So she doesn't teach English. She teaches English pronunciation. So that's niche. And then it's to native Japanese speakers. And she does around $30,000 a month.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
So go figure.
Awesome. All right, Graham. Well, that was all the questions I have for you today. But before we get going, where else can people find you online?
Yeah, all my content's at grahamcochrane.com or on YouTube. I hang out a little bit on Instagram at the Graham Cochrane. Obviously, check out the book if you want to dive into that, How to Get Paid for What You Know. It's available anywhere. And then I also offer a free training if you want to watch a video workshop on how to build your first $1,000 a month in recurring revenue in just 30 minutes a day. It's a free training. Just go to grahamcochrane.com/gift.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Graham.
Thanks for having me.